We are live. What's up, guys? This is Matt back with you tonight. Sorry it took so long for us to get on air. We haven't done this for a little while, so there's a little bit of stretching out and trying to figure this out again.
Warming up.
We're warming up. So tonight we're going to talk about a few things. There's so many things since the last time we started talking politics on here. So they're kind of all scattered around, but there's going to be tons of information that we're going to cover. And we're going to go into a lot of it has to do with Russia, Ukraine, um, the New World Order, all kinds of crazy stuff. We'll probably throw some religion in there also. Want people to take a minute and go to matforcongress.vote. As I don't know if people remember, going to be running for District 1 congressional seat against Diane Harshberger. I would have done the Republican primary, but I'm not a bona fide Republican. Apparently, I'm not conservative enough. So anyway, if you guys want to go to matforcongress.vote, check it out, and also check out my Gab, which is gab.com/matforcongress, and you can see some of my political ideas and some of the stuff I find interesting on there. Lots of great stuff. I highly recommend Gab. Anyway, we've got Daniel and Noah again here today. We were going to do Bible study, but we decided that maybe we'll switch it up a little bit, hit the politics because there's so much stuff to cover. So without further ado, let's get to it, guys.
Hello, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of the Tri-City's most riveting and informative show. Live from the hills of the Appalachians, the McMak podcast, where your conservative libertarian hosts, Daniel McCrae and McMak, talk with you about some of today's most important issues and discuss how they affect you, the freedom-loving citizens of northeastern Tennessee. So, light your cigar, pour a glass of your favorite bourbon, kick up your feet, and get ready to dive right in. This is the McMak Podcast.
All right, guys. Welcome back, Daniel and Noah. I've got you on. If you guys want to say anything there.
Well, there's a lot of information that's out there now regarding Russia and Ukraine. It's hard to sift through it all. We were talking earlier, and we were talking about Matthew 25, I believe, where it talks about wars and rumors of wars. And
Matthew 24.
is it 24?
I think it's 24.
Okay, and so we were talking about that, and I was telling Matt, I kind of had an epiphany the other day. I was listening to someone, and it was talking about wars and rumors of wars, and I was looking at it from the aspect of, these people are actually at war, and then these people over here could go to war. But what I didn't actually realize is that it could be rumors coming out of the war that's already started and that's already going on. And there's so much stuff that's coming from the media that it's actually hard to actually get a grasp on things. You got so many different people saying different things. It's according on which channel you're listening to. You can also go online, and Gab is blowing up with all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just really interesting. So, we're going to go back, and we're going to show you some stuff. Even we got articles back from 2005 that we're going to talk about regarding this situation. So,
Hey, Daniel, can you hang on one second? I'm going to
sure.
try to pop over to this other camera here.
Okay.
People aren't going to be able to hear us for just a second. Audio, input capture. There we go. I think that should have fixed it. Should be hearing everything crystal clear. Okay, so Daniel, you were saying, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about the fog of war, so to speak, that's coming out now. I mean, we're in.
What are you? Tell people what the fog of war is.
Well, it's just the confusion of it all. You got like fourth and fifth generational warfare going on, which is pretty much just propaganda wars. People an army can be toppled, from public sentiment, from countries that are actually at war. You can actually cause, civil uprisings in countries that are at war.
Mm.
So there's a big propaganda game going on right now, and like I said earlier, we're just going to try to sift through some of this and try to get a hold on it. So
Noah, you got anything to say, bro?
No, I don't. Just get right into this.
Yeah. So just for everyone who knows, Noah, we were talking before the show. Noah doesn't know a lot of this stuff already, because he mostly keeps his head in the good book instead of.
Yeah.
So, but one thing that I want you to do is like ask questions about stuff, cause stuff that we may talk about.
Because we have all the
Oh.
answers.
Oh no, that's not it.
Well, trust me, whatever you say, I'll take it home and I'll back check it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
anyone who sees this stuff.
sure.
Man, my hair is looking like I don't know what's going on here.
You need a high and tight.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Need to be
Well,
like
if
me, Daniel.
we get into World War III, and
Man, brother, mine's not by choice. Mine's not by choice.
we'll have a draft, and everyone will have a high and tight.
I'll give you half thumb.
That's right.
Yeah, Noah cut his thumb off.
Yeah, unfortunately,
like 2 weeks ago.
He had a very bad work accident.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
you guys ready to get started here? Let's talk about. So we've got up on the screen here this first video. Now, what this is a alleged woman in Ukraine. This is like a truck that's giving people supplies and stuff, and this is supposedly filmed by a journalist on the ground in Ukraine. And I'll tell you exactly, or kind of what's going on with her. She's saying that she'll tell you you'll have to. Well, I'll read the subtitles for people because I don't think they'll be able to see it. But basically, she is talking about her town where there was a Ukrainian tank. And because it's hard to tell, because Ukraine has a lot of the same military equipment that Russia did, because it's old Soviet stuff,
old Soviet era stuff. Yeah.
So they're Ukrainian, and they drive to the top of the hill and change uniforms into Russian, and then they start shelling this town, which is Ukrainian. So the reason we're talking about some of this stuff is because we're questioning what we're being told, because it was very strange. Right, we were talking about before the show that you've got, like, all of a sudden, day one, Russia moves into Ukraine. You've got Fox News and CNN agreeing. Newsmax also. Everybody's on the same page. Really? And then at the same time, they're asking Elon Musk to black out Russian news sources and communications.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
isn't that strange? I'm not saying that Russia's doing anything good. All I'm saying is, anytime you try to cut out a man's tongue, all you do is, what is it? What's the quote? You lend power to his words, or exactly. It just shows that you're scared of what they're going to say.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, definitely, war is terrible. And I know, the only people that want to go to war are the ones not fighting it. So
yeah, and the people who sell war products.
Yeah. So what Matt's talking about here is a false flag operation, and what that is it's kind of like an intelligence operation, to where you'll have people from your side dress up like the enemy and actually attack, let's say, towns in your country, and to make your enemy look bad. There was one situation in the Second World War,
or to make them look like they're doing something that they're not.
Right. You had an Operation Himmler, where Nazi soldiers actually dressed up like Polish soldiers and attacked.
I just want to point out, the reason that we only have. Thank you for whoever's watching, but the one person is because we're streaming at the same time Timcast is on.
There you go.
Timcast is a direct competitor, but anyway, continue what you're saying. Sorry.
No, I mean, that was pretty much it. You had Nazi soldiers dressing up like Polish soldiers and going out and doing operations, and that way it gives them a reason to attack Poland. Right.
So it's like trying to
map and
do what?
They're just getting intelligence before they assault.
Well, that's what they think. But
Yeah.
so whenever you shut the other side down, it's like you don't see because there's always two sides to anything.
Yeah.
Well, technically, there's three. There's your side, their side, and the truth.
Yeah,
Especially
nice.
today. So
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying obviously,
Yeah.
Putin is a ex KGB officer.
yeah. And the thing about it is, it's unfortunate. It seems like in our Western culture nowadays, we have to take the lesser of two evils. And it's unfortunate.
Have you seen Master and Commander?
It's been a long time, man.
You seen Master and Commander? It's a really, really great movie. I've seen it like 100 times, but it makes me think of a joke in the movie. It probably won't get if you haven't seen it.
Right? Yeah. No.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. And one of us, maybe me. I guess I'm going to just read off what she says because she's speaking in Ukrainian or Russian or
Right. The subtitles.
I always wonder if they're translating this stuff correctly. I was like, well, at some point, someone who's Ukrainian or Russian will be like, if you look at the comments on
we
the
know
videos.
someone that actually speaks Russian, and we'll have them back on at some point.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, I did earlier, but
Dude, that would have been perfect. Where's she at?
I don't know, man. You got to give me some time.
Yeah, I didn't give you
Yeah.
any time at all.
Yeah.
Dude, dude, we should be having her on every week, considering
That's actually, yeah. I mean, that's a great
Russian.
idea. So, but anyway, let's get to this video.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel, what you want to read it? You got a better voice than me. You think you can see from there?
Yeah, I guess. I think Noah's bandages in the way.
Thanks.
Just messing, bro.
I'm already sentimental about it.
Maybe let me balance out of the full screen and just do. Which one's large? I just want a large, not full screen. Theater mode. Yeah.
There you go. Try that. Says, how's the situation? Anxious, of course. We still hear the shelling somewhere around. Thank God everything is calm here. Recently, Ukraine controlled everything here. It says, of course, Ukrainian army is shelling. It was a Ukrainian army. And how was it like during that time? How was it? It says 2 tanks were driving. I saw that with my own eyes because I was on the street. 2 Ukrainian tanks were driving. The third tank stopped a little. It lagged behind them. 2 of them jumped up the mountain and crazy. So it actually started shelling. So it says it fired like 3 grenades. And then it says like it hit, she's pointing, it says it hit this way twice. The third time it destroyed the corner of the kindergarten. So apparently it hit a school. She said, I saw this with my own eyes because I ran into the basement. So, I mean, there's this lady there and she's actually just saying, I don't know if it was the same story that was on TV regarding the school.
No, this wasn't on TV at all. All they've been reporting is they've just been reporting that Russians have been going in and shelling Ukrainian towns, and you don't get another side to it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the Russians have been shelling some towns, but I know that there was one school that was on the news that said the Russians had been shelling. I don't know if this is the same.
Well, yeah, so a hospital too is like they did a missile strike to the hospital. It's like, well, if you go back and look at the Palestinian, like Hamas,
right, that's exactly what I was thinking
about.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, well, what they do is they set up their missile battery in a residential area,
right,
in between different apartment buildings, and then they fire at the Israelis in from an Israeli settlement or something like that, right? Or in between Palestinian settlement, and then they are like, well, they're protected. They're using the people as shields,
right?
And I've seen a lot of people talk about that on Gab. Again, I think everyone needs to get on Gab. It's like their slogan is like "Get on Gab," right? Yeah. And it started blowing up really fast on after they shut. What was it? What was the name of the
Parlor?
Parlor.
Yeah, after they shut Parlor down.
They shut Parlor down because Parlor is actually a bunch of woke people too.
So to recap this, you got apparently you got Ukrainian tanks actually shelling their own towns.
Yeah, so they switched uniforms, is what she's saying. They switched uniform. They went to the town, switched uniforms.
I don't see why it would matter to switch uniforms because they're inside tanks, but
because you still see people sitting on top, or
I guess. I mean,
pictures and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
pictures.
yeah,
Again,
Just to have
so
that proof that it's like, oh
Yeah,
look,
okay.
it's Russia.
I want to explain to everyone that I am not pro Russia or pro Ukraine. What I am is pro truth, and I'm pro not getting lied to.
yeah,
And I'm just saying that it's too convenient for every news network to all of a sudden just be, "Hey, we're all the same side," after we've been back and forth about everything. And then,
Well, I mean, from a political standpoint, it's actually a good thing because we're all so divisive. We're all so
well, that's
divided.
great.
You understand what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
understand
If
why?
you're gonna have common ground, I mean, that's good. It's good, but
I understand what you're saying.
yeah, it's
but
like
I'm just from a political
build
standpoint,
your house on sand there.
right? I
You
mean,
know.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know.
No, well, yeah, that's good.
Well, and what happens when you build your house on sand?
Yeah, your house gets destroyed.
Exactly.
No, I mean, but the problem is that again, they're like, I think that they think people are so stupid, because like at first there wasn't like anyone asking questions, and then whenever I was on Gab, I was like, I was like, that's too convenient that people are,
All on the same side at
yeah.
once.
Yeah, it
instantly.
won. All of a sudden, just everything switched, and it was like a week after the Hillary Durham report came out, where they're like, "Hey, yeah, Hillary Clinton paid these people to spy on the Trump campaign." Even after he had won the election, they were still spying on him.
Mhm.
It's just too convenient. And then she's like denied it, obviously, but that happened, and then all of a sudden, now we seeing that Ukraine or that the Hunter Biden laptop is real, which we all knew. That was October, right? You got Rudy Giuliani, who's a freaking federal prosecutor, previous federal prosecutor.
Yeah,
You think that he's going to go on and be like, "Hey, this is something fake," and just be like, "Oh yeah, look, guys, this is real." Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, and there was a survey. I don't know if people saw it that said that 60% of Democrats had they known the Hunter Biden stuff that they wouldn't have voted for
yeah.
Biden. So even if he did win legitimately, he wouldn't have won legitimately unless they had not suppressed his or suppressed the information
Truth.
about
Yeah.
and said that it was fake. Jen
Right.
Psaki came out. There's a Twitter post. I don't know if you guys saw it, where she said it's just a public statement by like 50 different not central intelligence, but just intelligence officers.
Operatives. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that it's probably fake. They said that they don't have any
Yeah,
proof,
right.
but in their
Probably.
opinion, it's probably fake, right?
Right.
And Jen Psaki, the freaking press secretary to the president, said that. So I mean, it's just you should question anything that you see at this point. There was another article, I don't know if you guys saw it, where they briefed like the top 40 TikTokers
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, they're actually
about
paying them.
the Russian war or
Right.
the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It's like,
Why? Yeah. Well, I mean, why would they do that? Think about that for a second.
because they have a narrative that they want to push.
Well,
you
no.
control the narrative.
Dude, the mainstream media is tanking, bro. They got to get their propaganda
That's
out
true.
on outlets where people are actually
Oh,
watching.
dude, I saw. I don't know if you saw this, but Tim Pool was talking about that there was a increase of like 70% viewership for like CNN and
Sure.
everything because their ratings are tanking. Like you're saying, there's like 670,000 for like primetime news
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Tim Pool gets more views than that. They were talking about the CNN.
No, man, yeah, he's doing great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really, really connecting with a lot of different people. So
Yeah. So that's awesome. But
did you want to keep watching this video? But
no, man.
long story short, but the
Yeah.
reason that I question what we're seeing here again is because if you fast forward through here, she talks about the tankers are changing uniforms, blah blah blah. So you said they were trying to get a Russian provocation or blah 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 blah. Are you 100% sure? Whoop. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to play. And what happens is later on, she actually gives her the town that or the neighborhood she lives in and her full name. So you would imagine that if she did that, I mean,
Yeah, but
I'm just saying that this is something to question.
right,
I
yeah,
saw
exactly,
this.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, you have to question everything. So I mean, if you seem like that, and plus, he was talking to another lady, and
Uh-huh.
she just kind of jumped in
Yeah, she
there.
jumped in.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
So
she seems pissed off. I mean, but I mean, like, I don't know. I don't speak Ukrainian or Russian or anything. So
sure,
if we should definitely have Natalia on and ask her what she thinks. Like, have her
yeah.
show
Well,
her the
she's
video.
actually already mentioned it.
Oh, this video?
No, no, just this whole situation talking
Oh
about doing
yeah,
a
dude,
podcast.
that'd be
So we'll
great.
get
I
her on.
never even thought about that.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get her on. Yeah, so that's fine.
I'm trying to think. I work with a girl from Moldova also
Oh, okay.
too. She doesn't
Oh.
like Putin at all.
Well, I mean, hey, that might be.
Natalia she didn't like Putin either.
No.
But she didn't like him. But there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like even if you don't like someone, like a lot of people didn't like Trump. They're like, well, his economic policies work.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, so next one, we've got a ton of these. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this is one we want to do next. This would be interesting because we pointed out that we're going to be talking about some to do with the New World Order, which Noah you're not familiar with, or you are.
New World Order, I know a little bit of it.
The NWO used to be a wrestling group, right? The NWO, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
No. Oh, Wolfpack. No. Okay, that's cool. I guess I'm the only redneck here.
Never got big in wrestling.
So what this video is Klaus Schwab, who is the I guess is he the founder?
Well, yeah,
Founder of?
he's like the head of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
So I mean, what the World Economic Forum is plainly, it's almost like a lobbying organization. They say that they're
It's the world leaders of the world.
Well, no, it's big corporations. It's like it's an umbrella. It's like I say, it's a organization that it has members of like some of the largest companies in the world, and they get together and they just have meetings. All
Plus
the
world
CEOs.
leaders.
So you're saying
Yeah.
pretty much
Like anyone
like
who
the
has money.
richest people in the world.
Right. The richest corporations.
I think if you have enough,
the leaders.
if you can afford it, you can
Yeah.
get into it, right?
If you go look, at their website, they'll say they're impartial and they're trying to help and do good.
It's just rich elites.
Yeah, what happens is they actually kind of put pressure on world leaders.
Like you said, it's lobbying. They're lobbyists.
Yeah, they're kind of, they say they're not, but that's what they do.
And so they get together and they decide. I think their website says something. They decide world policy and like the focus.
Like this guy Klaus Schwab, for instance. He actually had. There was a video where he was talking about. He's like, yeah, we got like half of Canada's cabinet members.
Yeah, this is the video.
Yeah, there you go. Half of Canada's cabinet members.
So they said
are with us.
The World Economic Forum sets up. I don't know how they do it exactly. I need to do some more research into it, but it's basically like a boot camp for young world leaders who they think are going to be influential. And it's like a 5-year program.
Yeah.
And some of the people who have graduated are like Emmanuel Macron and Justin Trudeau. I think Putin did also, but he like cut ties as far as I'm aware. He cut ties with them.
I'm not sure.
But
Zelensky is part of it.
Right.
Which is Ukrainian president.
Right.
And you got, I'm wanting to say.
And so all these people meet and then they talk about their policy. So like Agenda 2030, what people talk about Agenda 2030, that is a real thing. You can go to their website and see the fourth industrial revolution, which is the merging of human and mechanism or
technology.
Yeah. That's the fourth industrial revolution. They want to get rid of
our DNA
or our population at least. And they say these things out front. It's not hidden. They don't lie about it. It's the same thing with everyone saw the video of Biden. Oh, well, we need to establish the New World Order, whatever the heck he said.
Yeah.
They're trying to normalize people to it.
Sure.
Oh, we mentioned the New World Order. Now that a few people start talking about the World Economic Forum. Normalize that. They're like, oh, it's conspiracy theory, whatever. That normalizes you to it. So then whenever people who are like, yeah, this is real, people are like, yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. The same thing they did with COVID, right? They're like, oh, well, no, there's a lot of vaccine injuries. You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Same thing with ivermectin. It doesn't, if you say it worked, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're just crazy whack job. just like Joe Rogan. They introduce it. They themselves will mention it and then destroy the argument or just misguide the public, because the majority of the public don't care enough to go look into it.
Right.
And then they'll introduce it, and they'll be like, then it'll be a normal thing. It's like this is like it's almost something that didn't even happen. You know what I mean? Like the COVID, they're just trying to make it go away. So yeah. Anyway, we'll let people watch this video here. Again, this is Klaus Schwab. If you have a hard time understanding his demonic accent, not that German accent's demonic, just his accent. Well, I don't think anyone can hear that.
Yeah. So anyway, in this video, he's actually talking about. He actually says.
It says the program here for executives. Then Klaus Schwab, and he created the Young Globalist Leaders. Tell us a little bit about the terms of governance.
Mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, and so on. They all have been young global leaders of the world economy. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders.
That's true in Argentina too. Well, that's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I'm maybe the president, with a young global leader. But what is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here. And we have established a course now since several years. And I think this cooperation has a tremendous impact, because being here for a week really creates a strong community. And we, in addition to the young global leaders, we have now the global chambers in 450 cities around the world. And just wonder is
okay, so here's a question. He called them all young global leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old was Putin when he got into office? I mean, he's been in what, 20-some years, and he's what, 70?
Has he been in 20-something years? I don't think so. I don't think he's been there that long. Like maybe like is prime or is president?
He was out. There was one other guy. He's been in for quite a while, man.
Is he prime minister? He's president.
I think so.
He's president.
But anyway,
he's
been in office. He's been in office for a long time, but he calls them young global leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. That's just one thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, but also I read an article that he had severed ties, whatever that means.
So but going back, why would the World Economic Forum? So like we said, Zelensky was part of the World Economic Forum. There's a lot of stuff about Ukraine that most people don't know.
You know, hang on.
All right.
Before, there's a video I don't know that you watched. It's a reporter. She's Ukrainian. I don't know did I send that to you? We can show people this real quick. This is from the World Economic Forum 2016. This is talking about their agenda, and I don't know that you'll be able to see it, so I'll just read it to you. Agenda 2030. These are 8 predictions for the world in 2030, based on what they want, what their goals are. It says the first one is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. This is how our world could change by 2030. Read more. It says you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Whatever you want, you'll rent, and it'll be delivered by drone. The U.S. won't be the world's leading superpower. A handful of countries will dominate. This is the United Nations, right? You won't die waiting for an organ donor. We won't transplant organs. We'll print new ones instead. There's a 3D printer now. You'll eat much less meat. An occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment or health, which is, we can go off on that. 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. Of course they will. We'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. No way. Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. There will be a global price on carbon,
Pause it.
and this will help to make fossil fuels
Okay,
history.
so polluters are going to have to pay to release carbon dioxide.
Hmm?
That's what you exhale. Okay.
Well, yeah, dude. Well,
Yeah,
that's
so
that's the carbon that they really want to get rid
Well,
of.
yeah,
Is you.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. That's what trees need. That's what plants need.
Mhm.
You know.
Well,
So I mean, first it was carbon monoxide, which I understand that. That's not good stuff. I mean, you'll get the haze around the cities.
Unfortunately, trees don't actually need us to survive because they also produce CO2, but obviously in a lot lower quantities.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but I mean, they still need carbon
No,
monoxide.
yeah, for sure. If you increase the carbon
The whole-
dioxide, it actually increases the size of trees
The
and
whole
everything.
point is they want to do a VAT tax or a carbon tax. They want everybody paying an extra value-added tax,
even though
just for breathing.
You know who's not going to pay that is China, right? Who
Well,
pollutes?
I
What
mean,
are they
Russia.
use like 4 times
well, it'll be like on products, I believe. I believe it'll be an added tax on the product.
Well, everything will be too expensive for us to afford.
Well, I mean, it's about how it is now, anyway.
Yeah, and obviously, again, China's not going to adhere to that.
They're still building coal-fire power plants, and so is India.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
China's
we're
switched
doing
over
it.
to nuclear, I think.
No, dude, they're building tons of coal plants.
Yeah, you can.
They might be doing it in the long term, but short term, they're having such energy crisis right now because they're.
I did read that they're building like 230 new plants or something like that.
Of coal or nuclear?
I thought they were nuclear.
I don't know, man.
I think I saw that might be coal because I know that they're building a ton of new coal plants.
Like 21%, I think, is the number that I read regarding how many 21% of their more coal plants than what they have now.
Yeah,
I couldn't find the number of how many plants they have now.
Did you guys see like I guess it might have been a year ago now, but like the rolling brownouts and blackouts. And they're laying people off because they just don't have the electricity to run the factories.
I mean, that happens here out in California, but they're telling everybody to buy electric vehicles.
Yeah, I was gonna put a meme on here about that.
I mean, you know,
like, I can't buy a $60,000.
Yeah, well, go ahead and buy. You know, your average electric vehicle is $55,000.
You know, the good thing is
more expensive that.
You know, your average.
We live in an area that's provided by Tennessee, the TVA electricity. So our electricity is much in a much safer place than everywhere else. You know, we don't have to create nuclear reactions or burn coal to do it. It's just like you just have to have rain, you know.
Power plants.
Yeah. So, you know, the dams run our electricity. So we're in a much safer place than a lot of places are. But like other places, they have to have the whole logistics system. Everything has to be in place to bring in the coal. And natural gas even, and then even the nuclear stuff. You can't just have a bunch of weirdos working at the nuclear factory. You have to.
Out there in California, they have those wind turbines and everything else, but
they're not running all the time either.
Well, yeah, but think how much concrete it takes to do just one of those wind turbines.
Oh, dude.
I mean,
the real concern is with the blades whenever you dispose of them. Have you seen that graveyard with the blades? Is like thousands of these 100-foot steel blades. There's no way to recycle them.
Oh, really? I was wondering why.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can do to recycle them. I mean, you would imagine it melted down or something like that. It's like it's a 100 and something foot wind turbine made of steel. It's like there's not a whole.
People cut up train cars for a living.
Well, that's true. So I mean, you'd think, but it's cheaper to just mine more steel out of the ground.
I was say the amount of metal that you would get might be because I'm sure that they're really thin. Yeah, it can't be super heavy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Prices.
Yeah, so.
But it's like a graveyard. It's like they just make a graveyard of these freaking wind turbines.
They're just stockpiling it up, wait until metal goes up and sell it.
Yeah. Is that what they did with the rest of the border wall too?
Yeah, more likely.
You can be preparing to go to Mars. Great. Scientists will have worked out how to keep you healthy in space. The start of a journey to find alien life? Yeah. Western values will have been tested to the breaking point. They are right now. Checks and balances that underpin our democracies must not be forgotten. I don't know. We'll just delete them, I guess. So anyway, that is the World Economic Forum video. That's just something that just a few things from their list of things, including the fact that they want to depopulate the Earth. Right, 90% of the population. People were like, "Well, Bill Gates believes in depopulating the Earth." So the Georgia Guidestones, if people aren't familiar with those, you can Google those. But Bill Gates is one of these people, and then we put him in charge of vaccines. And he says in a TED talk that we can how do we decrease population?
Like
Good vaccination.
85% by vaccinations.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he was talking about population problems in that actual video, and he said, you'd have to go watch the video. Just look up TED Talks, Bill Gates, and population control.
And the thing is too is he's not the only one. There's tons of people. They're pushing this whole climate change. They're no matter what, every which way they can, trying to depopulate the Earth. So the way that they do that is you got transgenderism, promoting those kinds of values and beliefs. Again, I think that people should be able to do. You should be able to do whatever you want. And I'm 100% for that. But I'm not for teaching young people ways of being that are not beneficial to anyone. It's like if you grow up and you feel that way, that's fine. Which is funny. There's a documentary by Oliver Stone. It's called The Putin Tapes. I know people are talking about the Ukraine on fire or something like that. And Putin was like, yeah, people think that it's illegal to be gay here. He's like, no, what it is illegal to do is illegal to try to coerce anyone under 18 or teach them homosexual stuff. Anyone under 18. After you're 18, he says you're free to do whatever you want. But he says, he's like, if we teach people to be gay,
they're gonna be gay.
He's specifically talking about the population. He's like, we have to have people making babies.
Well, that's one thing Russia does not have going for them. I mean,
what's that?
Having kids.
Dude, are you talking? They're probably making more babies than we are here.
No. Russia.
Than the United States?
No, Russia has I think it's like a 94 divorce rate because in Russia.
But they still have babies, no?
No, because in Russia, men are still allowed to beat women. No, honestly, so they get beat, then they get divorced, and they don't have kids. And I mean, they were like Russia put up a thing like they get $75,000 if they had a kid because their population is dwindling.
Hungary did that. Hungary did that. That's $30,000 loan that's refundable if you have like 2 kids within the next 5 years or something like that. We need to be doing that in the United States, dude. Do you know the whole world? Elon Musk are going to need to be replaced. It's still not enough. If you look long term, it's we're actually having less kids than the replacement rate.
You have to have 2.1 for each person, and I think our rate is maybe 1.2. I think right now. So we do have a demographics problem here. We actually did a podcast earlier regarding migration or immigration, and we actually went into that. So you guys go check out that podcast. So
Elon Musk talks about there's 2 threats he thinks there are to modern society, and one is artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence, and 2 is the population decrease. It's about to drop off a cliff.
Yeah, that's one thing. I was listening to a trends forecaster. I listened to a couple of them, and they were talking about the baby boomers actually retiring, and there's a big, I guess, portion of them that's finishing off retiring now. And what he was actually talking about is you're going to see a massive drop in the stock market because everybody is going to get their money out. All the retirees that's been putting their money in there for years.
Well, hopefully they just get their annuity or whatever.
That's possible. Yeah. But I mean,
there has to be, you have to produce money.
But you also have to understand that, people's, their expendable income is going to go down because they're actually not working anymore. and they're
That's
they're
true.
going to be living off a fixed income. So there was all kinds of predictions that he made, like so you're having all these people retire, so you're not going to have many people driving, so the price of oil was supposed to go down, which would probably help us out now. But but
That's what they want, though.
you've
They want to get
also
you. They want to get rich.
statistically, you spend most of the money. People spend most of the money in their life between the ages of 35 and 50, and that's because normally by then you've got your career set up. You've made
Got a
some
house.
you got a house, some large purchases done. You've bought your furniture and stuff like that, so you can actually go and plus you've been in your career a while, so you're moving up the ladder and you're making more money. So there's a lot of stuff that you can actually learn by actually doing demographic studies and the effects of the economy, so you can actually make predictions on them, and it's really interesting. So as we were talking about earlier, we do have demographics issues in this country. It doesn't appear that way, but it is. So that's just one side note regarding the situation that we're talking about.
And
So,
again, we're not picking sides on anything. We're just showing you some information. I mean, it's just
yeah,
interesting stuff.
yeah, it's very interesting. The World Economic Forum. So why would they be interested in Ukraine? Why would anybody be interested in Ukraine? Well, Ukraine has a lot of natural resources, and I've got some of them written down. We got Ukraine is number one in all of Europe for recoverable uranium. Or let's see here.
Didn't the Clinton Foundation sold our? Was it?
That's
Was it?
uranium one. That was to.
Was that in
That was
Ukraine,
actually
though?
that was our. No, they sold it to Russia.
Was it in Ukraine though?
I'm
The
not
mineral
sure.
rights or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I knew
It
maybe
was like
both.
Kazakhstan or something.
Well, anyway, it was ours. We
It
had
was.
claimed it, and she sold off 20% to the
Yeah.
Russians. So to
Yeah, Hillary
Rosatom.
Clinton did it. She did that
Well,
as
she
she was
signed off on
Secretary
it.
of
She was
State. Yeah.
Secretary of State. Yeah, so she did
For
that.
like hundreds of millions of dollars, like 150 million or something like that. Some crazy.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what that. I'm sure it was more than that, but
Back in 2008.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So back to Ukraine, you got they're number two in titanium ore in Europe. They're number two in the world for manganese. They're number two in the iron ore reserves in the world. They're number two in Europe for mercury. They're number three in shale gas in Europe. They're number four in the world by total value of natural resources. They're number seven in coal reserves in the world. And supposedly they can meet the needs of hundreds of millions of people regarding food production. So, I mean,
they produce. I think they produce over half of the food
For
yeah,
Europe.
in
and
Europe. Yeah.
I actually got all this information from a podcast or a YouTube site called Valuetainment. You guys should go check them out too, man.
I want to pull up this too, just real quick, since you're talking about the resources. This is in trillions of dollars of value. Which countries are number one? Russia is in terms of natural gas. I mean, in terms of not just natural gas, but natural resources in terms of coal, natural gas, oil, gold, timber, rare earth metals. They are almost double the United States in terms of just raw materials. Okay, so like United States is second in terms of amount of raw materials. So Russia is 75 trillion, the United States is 45 trillion. Saudi Arabia is number 3, 35 trillion. Six is China at 23. Australia is 20. So people who think that Russia is like invading for natural resources or whatever, is like maybe the uranium, but I don't see it.
Well, I mean,
I'm still thinking it's shale gas. I mean, if Ukraine breaks off from Russia fully, joins NATO, takes the shale gas, sells it to Europe, it's just going to boost their economy higher than Russia's, and it'll drop them.
You got to understand, the geographic location of that place too. You got Belarus right on top of it to the north of Ukraine. So Putin, I guess he wants like a buffer state.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about before the show. Is like everywhere on every border of Russia, there's military installations or missiles. You got Japan, you got South Korea, you've got. Is Turkey a NATO member?
I am not sure. I want to
say you got Hungary.
I want to say they are, but I'm not sure.
All these different places, they all have military bases, And then Russia's like, what are you guys putting all your missiles at me for? And then also then they were like, oh, well, Ukraine's going to do it too, but also at the same time, Ukraine is where the Nord Stream pipeline was
Yeah.
going to.
And to be honest with you, I mean, if you want to look deeper into that argument and actually think about it, with with the ballistic missiles we have and stuff like that, I mean, maybe how much time would he have if it's
I
like
think it's
on?
20 minutes
I mean,
from
through
launch to.
no, I'm talking about from like the western end of Ukraine to Russia.
Oh yeah, it's like.
I mean,
Well, I
it'd
think
be probably a few minutes. You
I
know what I'm
think
saying? I don't know.
hypersonic missiles have to be launched at shorter ranges. I think maybe that's what they're
Well, I mean,
interested
to
in.
my knowledge, the only people that's got that it works is Russia and China, I believe.
And
United
us.
States, yeah.
Well, no, ours failed. Our test failed, so
Well,
I
That's
don't
what they
know.
say.
so they say.
So they say, yeah.
Yeah, and the art of deception. That's what I'm saying. Is like you don't know what to believe about anything. But anyway, so Russia is Russia accounted for 10.53% of oil. This is specifically we're talking about oil. 10.5 million barrels produced a day. And Europe gets 48% of the oil from Russia, and then natural gas made up 43% of the revenue for Russia. So they're not hurting for any natural resources or anything like that. And also Europe is pretty much hooked on Russian oil. And there was a
I wonder, are those pipes still going, even though they're in war
that
in
was they were
Ukraine?
building it. They were building it. I don't think it was finished yet.
Well,
The Nord Stream pipeline. It was
I
going
think
going into
I'm
Russia.
wanting to say
I mean to
it
Germany.
was. I heard. Now, granted, I don't know for sure because I haven't seen it, but I heard it was finished. But there has to be some administrative stuff that was supposed to be done.
Yeah, then pretty much Ukraine probably taxed the living daylights out of them because it's coming straight
Okay,
to
so
the
they started construction. It was
Pipeline was
completed in
completed in
2010.
2010. So.
Okay, so yeah, they didn't want Ukraine to be able because it goes through Ukraine. They didn't want Ukraine to be able to just shut it off, right? Because it goes into Germany and then from Germany elsewhere in
Right.
in
Right.
Europe. Okay. So anyway, let's see here. What's the next one we've got? Not that one.
So let's stop and let's think about this for a second, though. Okay, let's stop and let's think about this. So you got pipelines running through all these countries, right? What is our government trying to do right now?
Yeah, the
Stop
first
it.
day one they
Yeah,
shut
they're
our
trying to.
pipeline down.
Okay. Now, why would they want control of those pipelines?
Oh yeah, because yeah, they can put the squeeze on. They can stop everyone from using fossil
There you
fuels.
go.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like okay, so we made a deal with the Ukraine to use their natural gas, and shut ours down. And then now Ukraine's at war with Russia, and then now all of a sudden we're making a deal with the Ukraine or with the UK to supply their natural gas from ours. It's like, dude, I thought we weren't using our natural gas anymore. Right? So now you put a choke squeeze on them. Now we
Mhm.
control now the Ukraine and the United States controls all the natural gas, even though we're using their oil or their natural gas and
Right.
and the UK's using ours, right? They just choke both of us out.
Yep. Yeah.
Daniel, this is one of your articles here.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a very interesting article. So one of the things that come up was okay, was there or are there biolabs in Ukraine? And like you were saying at first, our government come out and vehemently denied it. But then you've got this article back from 2005. It says U.S. to aid Ukraine in countering bioweapons. And that article says the United States and Ukraine agreed yesterday to work jointly to prevent the spread of biological weapons, signing a pact that clears the way for Ukraine's government to receive U.S. aid to improve the security at facilities where dangerous microbes are kept. So the agreement, the result of more than a year of negotiations, was announced by Senator Richard Lugar and Barack Obama during a visit to the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. The senators credited Ukraine's reformist leaders ushered into power by last fall's Orange Revolution with breaking bureaucratic resistance to the pact. One lab to receive funding is the II Menikov Anti-Plague Scientific Research Institute. I know I butchered that name. Meknikov Anti-Plague Scientific Research Institute in the Black Sea port of the city of Odessa. The institute was part of a Cold War network of anti-plague stations that supplied highly lethal pathogens to Soviet bioweapons factories. So you do have biolabs there in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So it just said it. I don't.
And you have all the bioweapons like smallpox and stuff like that. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not smallpox because
Well, I'm
I
not
think there's only
sure.
three locations in the world that has smallpox. One's in Russia that was, well, blown up and disappeared. Then you have one in China, then one in the United States, in
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. So yeah. So I'm not sure what all they had there, but So here's the thing: you can go back and look at old articles and everything like that, and actually find, if you want to call it, information on the periphery about these situations that'll actually give you some answers. I don't exactly understand why the government would want to say that we wasn't involved. Now, granted, what they do now, they have semantic arguments, okay,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. It's like, are they our biolabs? No, they're not. Are we involved with them?
Yes.
Yes. So they give us like half truths and semantic arguments, and they're like, well, we didn't say we had biolabs.
But we
Over
just
there.
own half of it.
Well, I was getting ready to say, but we fund them. So I mean, if you're paying for them,
You own them.
yeah. So I really don't understand that concept, and I honestly think that if they would just come out and be honest with you, just like, yeah, there's biolabs there, and we're actually, helping to fund them, and we want to make sure that none of the pathogens in there actually get out. So we're going to do what we can. That's way more honorable, and we would get, I guess, behind them if they would be honest. Now, granted, if someone actually, just this is a life lesson. If someone actually tells a lie or half truth from the beginning of a conversation, 9 times out of 10 they're usually trying to hide something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Then
saying?
it
So
escalates and escalates and escalates until you can't hide the truth anymore.
right.
Then you just, well, if you're in the government, I guess they slap you on the wrist and
Or
say,
they just
it's okay, you just go on.
Or they just totally they
But-
blame it on someone else what they're doing.
And so I mean, guys, there are labs. I
Oh,
mean,
so we've
right
got a
here.
video. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's not just tell them.
Well,
Victoria
so
Nuland. Oh, here
yeah,
it is.
so you got Victoria Nuland. So she's the undersecretary of state, and she actually admits that there are labs there.
And this is a video from C-SPAN, and it's Marco Rubio talking about here. He's asking her. I don't know how they got her up there. I didn't see the whole process.
Well, okay, if you think about this, I mean,
That's because first of all, Russia comes out and they start saying that there's biolabs in Ukraine that
Okay.
are U.S. funded. That's
Alright.
what they said. There's like 13, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's fake news.
right.
It's fake."
But then you got people like us that just showed
We
you.
can just go Google it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We
They
got
don't even hide it. They just don't show it to you.
yeah, and so I found that in what
That's a,
10 minutes maybe or something
yeah,
like
and
that.
that was like in 20. What was that? 2016.
2005.
2005.
2005, when Barack
Biolabs.
Obama was a senator, he was
Yes,
actually
funded
in
those.
on that. So, it was, and just kind of interesting to say,
They
we
said
see
that we
who
don't.
was the vice president and all the shenanigans that went
Right.
down in
So that was
Ukraine.
the thing. Yeah.
That's
He
what
was
I'm
vice
saying.
president,
Yeah. So,
And then if you go at Hunter Biden's laptop, it talks about the big guy. I mean, there's so much corruption. It's just mind blowing that no one's in jail. Like anyone, not Hillary Clinton, not Joe Biden. And dude, if this was a Donald Trump
oh
scandal,
man,
dude, all they would have had to find was any dealing at all with Ukraine. Like even saying send an email from one to the other, and it would have been a whole thing.
yeah,
Instead of the Russia collusion, because
Yeah.
there was not even anything at all linking him to Russia,
yeah,
and that was the whole process. So you can imagine.
yeah, and like 26 million of your taxpayer dollars went to go.
That's a drop in the bucket, man. It was just everyone's energy's worth more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, the
Yeah.
2 years that
Special-
it took,
So,
ridiculous.
So yeah, everyone can watch this here. This is Senator Marco
Rubio.
Marco. I was trying to think of like a clever name to call him.
Rubio.
No, I mean he's just a dumb person. I mean he's or just either evil or just stupid and dumb. And look at his haircut.
Well, man,
You're a senator, bro.
he's probably pretty smart if he's a senator.
No, did you ever watch any of the
I don't
campaigns
know.
stuff? His debates for the presidential candidacy of the Republican Party? No,
No, I didn't.
sorry, my nose is.
Yeah. Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Anyway, here we go.
Well, I only have a minute left. Let me ask you,
Thank God.
does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has
Nope.
biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can.
The Ukrainians. Russell Brand covered. He had this video. He's like, "Don't you think if you speak, or if you're the Undersecretary of State, don't you think you should learn how to say Ukrainians and not Ukrainians?"
Prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces should they approach.
And also another point is that Russia has their own scientists probably doing stuff like this. So,
of course.
So why would they be concerned that the Russians got a hold of it? It's not like a barbarian group of, folks.
Well,
if anything, they're more advanced than Ukrainians are.
Well, I mean, they've got to explain their dealings. That's why.
I'm sure you're aware that the Russian propaganda groups are already putting out there all kinds of information about how they've.
Don't you love it how he's leading the witness?
Oh yeah, yeah. He said, "Yeah, what about this propaganda about the United States funding Russian or funding Ukrainian labs
to release biological weapons and."
Oh, so he's redirecting here and be like, no, the propaganda is about them releasing a virus.
Country and with NATO's coordination. If there's a biological or chemical weapon incident or attack inside of Ukraine, is there any doubt in your mind that 100% it would be the Russians that would be behind it?
What an idiot! Unless he's doing this on purpose, he's either an idiot or just an evil person to say that. Is there no doubt 100% in your mind that this would be a Russian thing if that happened?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
100%?
Yeah, he's leading the witness.
100% means that there's no room for error.
Yeah.
Dude, you're a bad person. You're just a bad person, and you deserve to be put in jail.
There is no doubt in my mind, Senator, and it is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Actually, that would be Saul Alinsky.
And that would be a Democrat.
Yeah.
I remember as soon as that Durham report came out, Clinton posted on Twitter, was like, they blame or they break the law and they blame it on the other person or something like that. Just like that. It was like, dude, why would you even say anything? You're an idiot.
Once again, like she
deny.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
that's what they do.
In the Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky wrote, he's like, blame your opponent for what you do.
Yeah.
And Saul Alinsky was like Hillary Clinton's mentor.
Yep.
So.
No way. No, this is conspiracy theories. Yep. Conspiracy. Let's see what the next video is here. This is just, I'm not going to go through this, but this is just a post. Russia has the bioweapon labs. So they went before the UN a couple of weeks ago and they said that, hey, there's 13 labs in Ukraine that are US funded bio labs. And the United States was like, nope, we don't. And same thing in the UN. And Russia was like, well, we have the information here. The people who work in the lab are telling us. And anyway, they denied it until again you saw the Victoria Nuland. No, you didn't catch that, but this is Victoria Nuland being asked by Marco Rubio if biolabs exist, and she said there's biological research facilities.
Yeah.
means yes.
Biological research facilities. And then he said, I'll let you watch that part again here. This is such a, just want to punch him in the face.
Groups are already putting out there all kinds of information about how they've uncovered a plot by the Ukrainians to release biological weapons in the country and with NATO's coordination. If there's a biological or chemical weapon incident or attack inside of Ukraine, is there any doubt in your mind that 100% it would be the Russians that would be behind it?
There is no doubt in my mind, Senator, and it is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
She said, I have plenty of experience with the
So
Russians.
wait a minute. Saul Alinsky? It was a Russian? Saul
Oh,
Alinsky?
perfect. No, and it's funny. It's like, yep, I'm an expert in this. That is, I'm counterintelligence. That is perfect. Yeah, okay, girl. Yeah, anyway, so this is just interesting. We've got a couple things that we're, like we said, this is kind of just scattered all over the place. There's tons of stuff to talk about, but I would love to have Natalia on. That'd be perfect. We could even go through some of this stuff again, and or if I can, we can pull up some Russian videos and see if she can just translate us. Anyway, this is something that Marjorie Taylor Greene posted March 18th. It's a pretty funny press conference with Joe Biden here. Asking about Hunter Biden's laptop. How would you respond to that?
By the way, there's nothing to any of that. Nothing to any of that. It's all a smear. Every major outfit, every serious investigator has pointed out that this is a smear. This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. And you may recall, there's also talk about 4 months before there was a similar thing that somebody had, allegedly. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged. I mean, look, my son's an honorable man, and all the investigations that were done around the issue of what was going on in Ukraine, if you notice, every one of the major people that worked for Trump during the impeachment went under oath, and under oath said Biden did his job. No law was broken. This Biden did his job. Hunter Biden broke no laws. That was the testimony, their testimony from Republicans and intelligence community people.
No,
so I think that
he's talking about what we were talking about earlier, the public statement by 50 intelligence agents. They were like, this is probably fake, but we don't have any evidence to support that. And I doubt that they're Republicans.
It is, I just think, look, politics has become too crass, too dirty, too ugly. And the perpetrator of an awful lot of this has been, he didn't start it all, but he has taken it to a new level.
Who?
As president.
I think he was meaning Trump.
Ben?
I don't
know. Let's see what we got here. Oh, yeah, this is just funny. We threw this in here. This is a video of them asking Trump about what he was doing whenever he was talking to that lawyer or talking to the government in Ukraine about what was it?
He was actually, he was worried that some corruption was going on. He was wanting them to investigate. Yeah,
he wanted them to investigate it, what it was. And it was someone that Biden actually got fired, right? Biden got the a lead prosecutor fired because he was investigating his son or involvement with
we
Burisma.
got that video up there too. But that's fine.
But this is just him being asked.
Because the corruption is massive. Now, when Biden's son walks away with millions of dollars from Ukraine and he knows nothing.
It's like, dude, calm down with those facial expressions.
Like, shit, people ain't supposed to know this.
This is something I found on Gab here. U.S. taxpayers in the name of Stand Up Ukraine. This is the wife of former Ukrainian MP Ihor Kotovitsky, declared $28 million and 1.3 million euros when entering Hungary. And previously he had faced allegations of corruption in the past. I think his wife was coming across the border, but this is just suitcases of cash, right? They claimed it. I mean, there's nothing that they can prove that's illegal, I'm imagining. But
who wants to ride around with $28 million?
I would.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you don't want that much?
No.
Well, I'm assuming they probably had their own private security for that much
I'm
money.
hoping.
No,
you know.
they just picked up one of the Russian
Yeah.
tanks.
Yeah,
You know, those
exactly.
Audis,
probably had a
they just
couple.
threw the stuff in,
Yeah.
filled
They
it
probably
up,
had a
said, let's
couple.
go.
But who knows? Who knows if that's true? Though.
This is another post. Is talking about the. Let me see if I can find that other video real quick. This is a wonderful video. So this is about 4 or 5 minutes, if you guys don't mind to watch. This lady kills it. Okay. She's a award-winning journalist here.
Okay. Apparently she's not quite ready yet. Let's keep it going
I'm
then.
ready. Can you hear me?
There you are.
We got her.
Oh, well, it's so great. We didn't see you pop up right away.
I haven't seen
Laura,
this show,
great to
America's
have you this
Voice
morning. I
AM.
wanted to start with just breaking news overnight that it appears, and there you are. You popped up for us. It's so great to see you. The Daily Mail has a very interesting story that's saying that Vladimir Putin essentially may be running out of bullets, that he might have a week and a half, 2 weeks max. He's losing warplanes, tanks, all the rest of it. He obviously went into this thinking he was going to bulldoze his way through Ukraine. He's obviously caused a lot of destruction. Don't want to minimize the fact there's over 2 million refugees, but this has not gone as well as Vladimir Putin expected.
I don't buy it for a second, Ed. I'll be honest with you. I really think that there's so much misinformation. We've never really seen anything like it. I mean, I've been covering wars now for 35 years, and I have never seen people with their nails done in the Ukrainian flag, right? I mean, we're being corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of you're either, a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun. So Vladimir Putin knew exactly what he was doing when he went into Ukraine. The Russian military isn't perfect. They, for example, I've spoken to multiple defense specialists and intelligence specialists from the Defense Intelligence Agency who've studied the Russian military for years. They do have a difficulty mounting complex air operations because they do very little training hours in comparison to, for example, the United States air assets, right, our fighter jet pilots. But Russia is not struggling. What Russia has done from the very beginning has been very strategic. They didn't go straight to Kiev. They went to all those bioweapons laboratories that are scattered all over the country. Some of them they built, so they know where they are. They've known where they are since the Soviet Union, because under the Defense Threat Reduction Program, we went in after the fall of the Soviet Union and supposedly turned those facilities from bioweapons labs into public health labs. Although, these days it's hard to believe anything that our leaders tell us, because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about. You see such dishonesty when it comes to the history of Ukraine. You see dishonesty when it comes to the Azov Battalion, which is funded by the U.S. and NATO. I mean, you can find pictures of them online holding up the NATO flag and the swastika
we got some of those, I
at
think.
the same time. Their own emblem contains the black sun of the occult, which was a Nazi SS emblem. And it also contains the sideways, lightning insignia of the SS. I mean, this is on throughout the Ukrainian military. You can see that black sun of the occult on their body armor, even on the female soldiers who are paraded in front of the world as being, such an example of Ukraine's independence and spirit and nobility. Even they are wearing the black sun of the occult. And, the White House wants you to believe, well, this doesn't matter. It's just a small number of troops. It's not true. The Azov Battalion has been murdering its way through eastern Ukraine.
Yeah.
We don't want to admit this. This was why Crimea voted for independence. This is why
I think I've got some videos of the torture that's going on, allegedly.
In the Western media and in the West won't acknowledge the reality of what's gone on. Western Ukraine backed the Nazis. It was a headquarters for the Nazi SS. The CIA under Alan Dulles.
Yeah.
The reason I think do you know the history on that, Daniel?
What's that?
Western Ukraine backed by Germany.
So
I think that they were moving there for some reason.
From what I recollect from something that I read, I think after World War I, you had some Germans move to the western part of Ukraine, and then maybe they just started supposedly like in World War II after it started.
Socialist Party or something.
Yeah, they started up maybe politically there. So
actually gave immunity from prosecution to the Nazis of Ukraine from the Nuremberg trials. So there's a long history of the United States and our intelligence agencies funding and arming Nazis in Ukraine. These are not like new neo-Nazi groups that sprung up. These are the actual Nazis from the Second World War, who, if you go back to the Nuremberg trials, said that they were planning for 1,000-year Reich. And so you have to really wonder as you look at this, when you know that the CIA sponsored the color revolution in Ukraine in 2013 and 14, that they selected Ukraine's leaders, go to Victoria Nuland's leaked phone conversation where she and the U.S. ambassador are deciding who can lead Ukraine.
Have you guys seen that?
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine.
One thing I noticed is she said they're preparing for 1,000-year reign.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the Nazi Reich.
Okay.
That's what they said that they were doing, 1,000-year Reich. But she's talking about right now, Victoria Nuland, that same video, the one that we were talking about with Marco Rubio, that's the same person, Undersecretary of State. I don't know what she was doing back then, but they were talking about before the election, they were trying to choose someone who the CIA was going to support. And it ended up being Zelensky.
Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Mitt Romney, and all of their children who are employed, who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies.
Yeah, you were pointing, pardon me, to a real credibility crisis for our leaders. I want to let Karen Turk jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the fact that President Zelensky is Jewish, and I don't know exactly how this factors in, but there's some very interesting points in
how does it factor in with George Soros?
Looking at this, you can think it's political theatrics. You made a very good point at the beginning that you think that Putin is in control. And I actually want to play something that Jen Psaki said, because it seems that the White House is actually echoing that sentiment. Watch this.
Well, the end game is really a question for President Putin. We have completely crushed his economy. We have provided military assistance, humanitarian assistance to the Ukrainians, enabling them to fight back for far longer than the Russian leadership anticipated. And again, he has to determine what the path forward looks like for him. Thanks, everyone.
He's determining what this looks like. And I think that's a lot of what you said, Laura. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, what you just watched.
What troubles me about the moment that we're in is that we have such a selective and a narrow reading of history. President Zelensky may be Jewish, but he's not the only one in this who suffered during the Second World War, whose ancestors suffered, right? I mean, look at Putin. How many relatives did he lose in the siege of St. Petersburg? People don't know their history. They don't know what made Vladimir Putin. And I'm not I'm not defending him. I don't need to defend Vladimir Putin. My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to. And we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky, who's a puppet, who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants.
I think we have that video too. We'll show that.
Doing a spoof Dancing with the Stars kind of entertainment video. That's a mock of a Ukrainian group that does this kind of satanic occult type of music video. And I mean, Zelensky was selected like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in. But what we do know is that there are increasing problems with technology and the digitization of our world. Because look at what's happening with COVID. Look at what has happened globally. We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is just a barefaced lie. If Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukrainian oligarchs. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. For how long? Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. These are our tax dollars. I mean, before the impeachment trial, had you ever heard of anyone in the United States, I mean, us bringing in foreign governments to the White House for anti-corruption training? I mean, does nobody question these things? Why do we not question them? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, who goes at the impeachment trial and sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people. Don't listen to the election results. We are the true leaders of America. I mean, and then people object when the woman isn't even fired. She's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University at the expense of the U.S. taxpayer. And we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts, you know, that we want you to look into something. But Joe Biden, he can withhold as much aid as he wants to. I mean, there's so much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all. Go back to Russian collusion. Go to Alexander Chalupa. Go to Eric Karamella, the whistleblower who went to work for Adam Schiff, who wasn't really a whistleblower, and all those corrupt people in the deep state. And you know what? The deep state isn't a theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's an actual deep state. Look up the SES, the Senior Executive Service, because when that bureaucracy was ushered into law in the United States of America, that's when we got a bunch of unelected bureaucrats pulling the strings behind the scenes. And these are the people that keep lying to us.
Absolutely. And pardon me, we've got a live chat where we're streaming on Getter, for example, and I'm watching it as you're talking. People are talking about how you're dropping truth bombs and you're a real journalist. And I know that, having worked alongside you for many, many years when you're at CBS.
She seems pretty intense. I've never heard of her
before.
before.
Want to hear the truth.
Have you seen her?
Dropping those truth bombs now. Unfortunately, we got to hit a break right now. We'd love to have you back in the days ahead.
She's killing it.
We'd love having you on. Lara Logan.
She's killing it. This is a recent video.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I know there's a long video, but she gets a lot of information out, and that's just more validation of we don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on in Ukraine, but I know that we are not being shown the whole truth. And you have these handful of multi-billionaires, the most powerful people in the world, all meeting together secretly and discussing about how they're going to control stuff. Whenever you have them involved, and they're all part of the same fraternity. I'm just saying I don't trust it. And then at the same time, they're saying, "Oh, we need to cut Russia off from the world." It's just very strange. Is all that again? Just question everything. If people haven't learned anything from the past 2 years, if they have not learned to not trust the media and do your own research, then they are idiots. To be completely honest.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin said the first responsibility of any citizen is to question authority.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like if you have and so many people have woken up to the fact that they've been lied to about the whole COVID thing, as far as like treatment and their origins and all this stuff. Trying to literally try to go and basically backdate the viral strains or whatever. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Dr. Bean does a really great video. The codon on the virus itself, the coronavirus, it's got an extra codon on it. It's 16 base pairs. You saw it for sure. And that 16 codons is actually patented by Moderna.
Right.
It was patented in 2016 by Moderna. They tried to say that, oh, well, no, it just naturally developed or something like that. But in no other type of coronavirus is it found in existence, right? And then they were like, it evolved.
There's like a 1 in 3 trillion chance
that those 16 base pairs would happen at all in the same time.
You have a way better chance of winning the lottery. I'm just
for sure.
Multiple times.
You have a better chance of getting hit by lightning and winning the lottery on the same day, probably. And cutting off your thumb. Yeah, I would have still probably had a really good day if I had won the lottery and cut my. I was like, no, I think I'll keep both of them. But I mean, at least one I could part with. But anyway,
dude, you can get 1.5.
That's true. So basically, what we're talking about is that this codon was patented by Moderna, and that codon actually, whenever it's attached to something in your body and your body produces it, it causes your body's natural cancer surveillance. Your body has a natural cancer surveillance system. It's got there's 2 proteins that your body produces, and then they combine, and then they go and read your DNA. And then if there's any errors in the DNA, which would cause cancer, right? Any translations, then it would mark that cell for destruction, so you don't produce any cancer.
Yeah.
Whenever your body is exposed to this codon that's patented by Moderna, it causes your body to produce, instead there's MSH1 or MSH2, MSH2 and MSH3, I think it is, and they bond together. This codon causes your body to overproduce MSH3 or MSH6, which bonds to MSH3, I think it is, or 2, either one. Regardless, the point is that it'll take the partner of the MSH that originally goes around and looks for cancer. So if you overproduce this MSH6, then it causes your body to be basically incapacitated, or not your body, but your immune system to be incapacitated as far as it relates to going through and looking for cancer in your body.
So what you're saying is this code, pretty much,
this patented code,
is making you have cancer, more likely to have cancer, because it's blocking the cells
from killing cancer.
From killing cancer.
Because everyone has cancer developing at all times at some level, just like skin cancer or something like that. You know, whenever your DNA is damaged in your skin from the sun, it kills those cells so they don't reproduce. Yeah, so this codon, they theorized that this codon was created so that they could study cancer cells, right? So if they have a cells in the lab that they can introduce it to this MSH6 codon,
make
and then
it last longer.
Yeah, and it'll cause cancer to develop or something like that, because it stops you from being able to prevent
I
it.
don't think it would actually cause cancer to develop. It would keep your body from destroying the cancer cells.
Right.
So,
that would allow it to build up to
cancer to grow.
Right. It doesn't cause cancer,
No.
but it will keep your body from getting rid of the tumor cells,
Right.
so to speak.
Exactly. Because your body has that natural mechanism, which is, I mean, it's amazing. Your body is amazing. But so I don't know, how do we get off on that topic? I can't remember. But so this is just another article. This is on Gab. I encourage people to get on Gab. It's 100% free speech. The Andrew Torbo was on Tim Pool, and they were asking, what's your code of whatever communication, whatever it is, and he pulled out his pocket constitution. Right? He said if it's protected by this, then it's allowed. So you can't threaten anyone, but you'll run into people who are racist. You'll run into people who are white nationalists, those kind of things. But those people are for the most part, very limited, and people just don't follow them. You can block people. Half the people don't have their actual name on there, but people are allowed to say things and believe things, whatever. But people can weigh the best ones for themselves. Like, if you're a racist, then I just won't listen to you. And that's how most people do. But there's some congressmen on there and all kinds of stuff. So this post is just talking about. It says forces of the Russian Federation armed forces continue to destroy the units of the 54th separate mechanized brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine. The battles are to capture, have no idea what that means or how to pronounce that. A large arsenal with weapons and military equipment of the Nazis, including Western countries, was destroyed. So you can see here the country of Ukraine, and this was 2 days ago. This is the dark red is the Russian territories. The shaded area is the area that they're still fighting over. And I don't know that that's something that they show on mainstream news. I think that they're showing that Russia's like being destroyed and all this stuff. But according to what that last lady said, that it doesn't seem like they're actually losing or not being able to hold their own. Yeah, so this one says Captain Anton under constant fire neutralized 9 anti-tank mines, 2 IEDs on a artificial blockage. At night, he continued to demine and the side controlled by the Ukrainian armed forces. Senior Lieutenant Alexei shot down a Ukrainian Su-25 attack aircraft. or attack aircraft with an accurate shot from a man's pad. The only reason I found this is just because this is counter narrative. They're saying that the Ukraine forces are winning. This is saying talking about the retreating 25th Airborne Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
I noticed down here on this bottom screen that it actually tells you how many tanks that they've destroyed and troop carriers, artillery, drones,
Does it say?
jets.
Is it talking about Russians?
Yeah, that's Russian stuff.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, this is in Russian. Obviously, you can't read it. Yeah, this is what they say. But then if you go and you look at the stats that the Ukrainians are posting,
it's, like
it's totally different.
Yeah, it's over 300. Well, combine the drones and the jets, it's over 300 kills.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's what the Ukrainians, and they're also saying there's like like over 10,000 deaths.
Yeah,
Russian. They said on the Russian side. That was a couple days ago. I'm just like, I don't know, because I saw a video of Vladimir Putin talking about reimbursing people for their, and payment plans for their families and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that ain't. He's saying that there's only like 7,000 people died or something.
Well,
like that.
I think it was less than that. It was like 2,000.
Yeah. So he's lying to his own people.
Well, that's what you think.
That's what. Yeah,
we don't know.
That's the narrative that's being pushed.
Exactly. Exactly. And that Putin is such a terrible person. Again, people think that being gay is outlawed in Russia.
Yeah.
Actually, we talked about it before the show, or maybe at the beginning of the show.
We've already mentioned it.
Yeah, just being 18, it just means that no indoctrination, which is the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Except for theirs is only until 13, right?
No, I think it's third grade.
Third grade, so it's
9 years old.
So 9 years old, yeah. And also too, in 2016, actually, Putin banned the production of GMO products in their country. That's one thing that's killing people. It's causing autoimmune disorders and all these problems. I mean, I'm not trying to say that he's a good guy. I'm just saying that the narrative is not. It cannot be correct. It just can't.
Somebody's not telling the truth.
Someone's not telling the truth, and especially whenever you don't see both sides. So, the next picture here is this is the what does it say? Blah, 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 blah. It says everything you can see here and wait in the picture. Eventually, the truth will surface. This is the mall that they were talking about the Russian forces destroying. They're like, oh, it's just an innocent mall. I can't believe they destroyed it. They missile striked it. This is a picture. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 military vehicles parked underneath in the parking bay of this mall. The mall is empty. There's no civilians in it. But the point is like, yeah, of course they struck them. They struck the mall. The mall's got great infrastructure, right? But there's also military bases. So again, you just have to question things. Like,
yeah, I can't. I mean, that picture's blurry too, man.
Yeah, it is.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So let's see here. This is nothing. I'm sure that if anyone did get shot in this, they probably blamed it on Russian troops, right? So this is a video of Ukraine National Guard fighting the Ukrainian Territorial Defense. Right, on accident. So friendly fire, right? We'll translate.
Наші козаки з Волині прикривають!
Wait, is it?
That dude just shooting off his left.
Отставить огонь, мы всех убили!
Is there no text?
Yeah, it's down below there. You just pulled it up. There.
Oh, yeah.
Нихуя себе, блядь.
So why did you
Да ты
shoot?
чё, блядь,
Stop
кричишь,
shooting at
мужики,
us.
блядь? Ты что, по нас хуяришь?
Why you didn't say it was you?
Ладно, конец связи, блядь. Конец связи, бо нас в натуре тут чуть.
And they're trying to say that these people are the ones defeating Russians. I mean, the Russians they've been fighting in Syria for God knows how long now. They've been fighting in Afghanistan for before that. Like their Spetsnaz, all these special forces, they've been constantly battle hardened. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Not really battle hardened. I mean,
You know
no, I don't think they've been tested like the U.S. has. But
Well, I know
U.S.
that-
has been in every major war since World War II.
All I'm saying is that I know that Russian people, hard times make for hard men.
Yeah.
Russians have been a lot more hard situation. Honestly, actually,
Well, just where they live.
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So they've had to deal with Russian thing,
Russian weather and stuff.
Yeah, not Russian. Russia.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they've been dealing with rougher things that we have, in the United States. So that's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying that they're good people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Vladimir Putin's a good person. Anyway, this is a video of Stephen Cohen, a well-known scientist in the field of Russian studies, talking about George Soros. Quote: George Soros was deeply involved in the affairs of Ukraine in a way that have not been made public. And this is the Commonwealth Club. I'm not familiar with that, but for anyone who doesn't know, George Soros is an international philanthropist. Funds a lot of basically socialist, Marxist organizations trying to destroy the United States. A lot of DAs who have been trying to destroy the United States by, not prosecuting people for their crimes, etc.
If you're asking me whether there's been a big vested mainstream economic, political, cultural, ideological commitment in Ukraine for 20 years, that's very much the case. And whether that played a role after 13, that's the case. And there's nothing bad about that. It's just a factor. I mean, the reality is George Soros has been deeply involved in Ukraine in ways that have not been made public, though he writes an article about it. 5,000 words, it seems, or somebody writes it for him in the New York Review of Books every other month. I mean, his commitment there has been longstanding and deep. On one side, he's not been an ecumenical figure. He's bitter about Russia because the same operation in Russia failed, and he left Russia in anger and fury. So
because they stood up. I mean, Russia has stronger ideals than the United States does at this point. The United States at this point, there's two sides to the argument. I mean, there's two different groups of people. One group of people are firmly entrenched in their beliefs, which is the Conservative Party. The other side is also firmly entrenched in their beliefs, but it's not American beliefs. They're not American beliefs. They're transgender,
ideological.
No definition of a woman.
Yeah.
Marxist ideas, and they're all rooted in splitting Americans and depopulating the world. I mean, those are the two basic concepts: destroying the United States and depopulating the world. Everything else can be branched from climate change, blah 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 blah. They all branch from those two things. This is just an interesting article. BlackRock says that Russia's war in Ukraine is ending globalization, right? That's what BlackRock says. Okay, that's what the BlackRock CEO says. Anyway,
one of the things that I want to mention is you have BlackRock and Vanguard. What's going on is the World Economic Forum. We showed you that video earlier where it says by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy. BlackRock and Vanguard, these two companies, and there's one more. What they've been doing is the federal government during the COVID lockdowns loaned them hundreds of millions of dollars, and it was the Federal Reserve actually. And what they went around doing was buying homes. It's one of the you have multiple variables to why the housing market is outrageous, but one of the things that they've been doing is they've been going and giving people, offering 25% over the asking price and just pricing people out of buying homes. You can
gentrification,
yeah. Well, you can go look this up. There's one story where out in Texas, BlackRock, is it BlackRock or Vanguard? They built this subdivision. It was cookie cutter homes. But what has happened is they went in and bought the whole subdivision, and now it's just rental properties. I read an article the other day regarding these three companies, and they owned hundreds of thousands of homes between these three companies. And that's what's going to happen. They're actually buying up all the new houses, and they're just making them rental properties. And it's pricing younger home buyers out of the market.
You know what? Also,
that's what's happening.
Also, too,
you guys need to go look this up.
Yeah.
Go look that
Also,
up.
too, what it means is that they're also getting the tax advantage to being homeowner. The company is, so whatever profit they make, they're deducting. So I think it's over 30 years that or 25 years, maybe 17 years that you deduct the depreciation value of a home. Then you don't have to pay those taxes back, as long as if you sell the house, then you use that money to buy another rental property, a different one. You can just keep
Well,
accumulating
brother,
that
you don't have
tax.
to do that when the Federal Reserve is loaning you
Already
money.
No,
owns
this
it.
is what I'm talking about. Is but it's a federal income tax, is what I'm saying, on the profit.
Yeah,
So if you so what I'm saying is they're also not having to pay taxes on this money.
well, I mean, and that's fine, but for real world applications, know that the gaining of wealth for your average American is through property.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it
It's
is.
everybody passing property down through the generations. My dad.
But you're talking about rental properties.
No. That's what I'm saying. They're taking it away. There will be no
Oh,
rental.
yeah.
They'll have it all.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
So no matter, yeah, obviously,
Well, that's
this
the
is a
goal.
separate issue. Yeah. I'm just saying that not only are they taking
Yeah,
that away from you,
they're getting tax
they're getting away
breaks
with
on it
tax
too.
free. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Not like us.
Well, of course not.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's super unfortunate. It's like, oh, we're going to increase the minimum wage, but we're also going to make it impossible for anyone to ever buy a house again.
Yeah,
That's basically
yeah.
at this point right now, unless you make Uber money.
Yeah. I mean, there are people buying houses down here sight unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and paying hundreds of $1,000s over asking price.
If it's a decent house, obviously there's some houses that are still crap, but
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. There's a certain point that's going to end. There's going to be an end to the number of people moving to this area, or it's going to decrease. But then if you have companies like BlackRock coming in and buying up all the property,
up all the new built homes because people
or
can't
the
afford
land,
them.
or just the land.
Well, yeah.
It's super unfortunate. Let's see what we got here. This is just funny. This has nothing to do with. Let's see what the next one is. This is just an interesting article talking about that. I haven't verified this, but Russia and along with China have issued arrest warrants for.
Yeah, you don't know, man.
For George Soros.
That's too.
I don't know. But this is pretty funny. This is not supported. Oh, here it is. No.
Well, it looks like they took that video down, man.
Oh, well, no, this is a good one too. It says, unfortunately, today, the values of those who trample on these fundamental values, Canada, once a symbol of the modern world, has become a symbol of civil rights violations. Under your quasi-liberal boot in recent months. We watched how you trample women with horses, how you block the bank accounts of single parents, so they can't even pay their children education, medicine, and they can't pay their utilities, mortgages for their homes. To you, these may be liberal methods. For many citizens of the world, it is dictatorship of the worst kind. Rest assured that the citizens of the world, united, can stop any regime that wants to destroy the freedom of citizens, either by bombs or harmful pharmaceutical products. That was a good throw in there. Thank you. There's another video, though. I guess it was removed. It's a lady at the UN, and she's saying, "Please spare us your presence, Trudeau, because you're a dictator." He's like, "Please spare us your presence." Anyway, this is another interesting. Slovakia, I guess, in their parliament, someone had brought up the Ukrainian flag. We don't have to watch that video. What do you think, Daniel?
I'm good, man.
Yeah. And then this was just some
Just
facts
facts.
here about Russia. Russia is double the United States in terms of
Yeah, we already went over that.
availability of resources. But yeah, so I think that's all we've got tonight. You know, we just kind of
like I
threw
was
this in.
saying, guys,
Yeah.
fog of war. Look at all this different information that's out there. You know what I'm saying? So, like we were talking earlier, man, we've got so much more, conflicting information now. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and I hate it. I hate it for everyone, man. War is terrible, and I hate it for them. You know.
No, yeah,
I hate it for them.
absolutely. Like, yeah, it's terrible, and I mean, obviously we shouldn't do it, but if people are going to criticize Vladimir Putin for this, like, we went into we've gone into Afghanistan, we've gone to Iraq, even with Vietnam. I'm just saying, like, they actually have a nickname for Obama. You know what it is? The Drone King. Right? Over 100,000 drone strikes during his presidency. Over 100,000. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of citizens died, like, just civilians. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure that statistic is somewhere online.
No,
but
no,
it was
they'll hide that.
right. Well, the problem is that none of this stuff is hidden. It's just people don't
Buried.
look for it. Yeah. Well, it's not even buried. Like, you can find the Pfizer data. You can find the Pfizer data. You can find any of the statistics about ivermectin. They're all in peer-reviewed research journals. People don't care to do the research. They don't care to look. And that's one of the major problems. Is like, our forefathers be like, you guys had access to all this stuff, and you still let that happen. You know what I mean? Like, they had to just go on like word of mouth, and people's words.
But back then, people's words meant something. It's like, I will be at your house at this time. To help you put up this pole
Well,
barn.
they didn't.
They were there at that time.
In our defense, we didn't have traffic. They didn't have traffic back then, right? Because they had horse and buggy. There probably wasn't that much traffic. That's really. It's like, I can tell you, I'll be there at your house at this time. Obviously, that's not a good excuse. But
right. Well, I think that's it, guys. I think that's it for this one, man.
Yeah. Hopefully next time we can have. That would be great to have Natalia on. That'd be super interesting. Because then we can bring up some more raw footage and stuff and have her translate. Yeah. And honestly, what I found is that most of these translations are pretty accurate. Based on other.
I've asked her about some of them.
Yeah, and she said that.
Yeah, she said it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she speak Ukrainian also, or just?
Well, I mean, a lot of them. I'm
very
not sure
similar,
about that, but
similar.
she speaks a lot of. Is it 60 some odd % speak Russian? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and Ukrainian is really like, it's like the difference between like Spanish and like Portuguese or Spanish or Italian or something like that. They can understand each other for the most part. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you stuck with us this long, it was good to get back into the politics stuff. Just because there's so much stuff going on. I mean, everything's falling apart, it looks like. But also too, maybe next time we'll incorporate more religious stuff, because we kind of just did this one last minute. But it'd be great if we thought through some biblical stuff on some of the stuff, or if we compare and contrast some of the biblical stuff that we like to talk about with what's going on in the world, like we were talking about earlier. The rumors of war.
Yeah, rumors of war. Yeah.
Because again, we're just telling people, question everything you see. There's a really great podcast, Russell Brand. Again, I never really thought he was funny, but his stuff, he's talking about the New World Order and all these things. And what's really scary is that they're suggesting, or they're just, Biden had someone type this up about the New World Order in his speech seems like to normalize people to it. And then they're gonna be like, oh, see, the New World Order is a good thing. We started one of those a long time ago, called the United Nations, blah, 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 to get people used to it and not scared of it. And then it's going to be like, oh, well, see, the New World Order is taking a more powerful stance.
Put chips in your right hand or left hand, or bark in your forehead.
That's conspiracy theory, Noah.
No, it ain't. It's already been proven.
Yeah.
It's written in
the
Bible.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Bible, is the word of God. So, anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Again, check the campaign website out at MattForCongress.vote. I'm mostly just posting stuff to Gab at gab.com/MattForCongress. Check us out at the McMakPodcast.com. That'll directly route you to our YouTube. Daniel, no, you guys have anything else to say?
Nah, man, I'm good, man.
Hope everybody has a good night.
Yep. Take care.
Yeah, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thank you.